should be on. It's on.
Good evening, everybody. Would you please come in and find a seat? I think that Stephanie would be a little overwhelmed to see so many people here, especially that she never liked a lot of attention brought to her. I'd like to welcome you all here and everybody who's live streaming. We're glad that you're able to attend with us. My name is Janet Aronson. I'm the chair of the Caring Committee for our congregation. Our spiritual leader, Cantor Elisa, is on a well-deserved vacation and unfortunately out of the country. Otherwise, I know that she would be here. And I know that she spent a lot of time with Stephanie and the family before. And I know that she had very kind and wonderful words to share with them. So tonight we will have people say a few words if they would like. And after that, we will go into the social hall and have a dessert reception in Stephanie's honor. Now, some of you have probably not been in a synagogue sanctuary before. I'd like to point one thing out. Above me is our Ner Tamid. It is the eternal light that burns in every single synagogue for every single second of the day. And it's to remind us that God's presence is with us always. And I think, like with Stephanie, her presence will be felt every day. They say that what remains after we're gone is our good name and the good deeds that we've performed. And everybody who knows Stephanie knows that she was a very giving and loving person who gave to the community and especially to our congregation, and we will miss her dearly. I met the Posners in around August, September of 1995 when they joined our congregation. Then they had two very beautiful little girls, and then eventually their family exploded to 5 very beautiful girls. And I must say that poor Richard, living in a house with 6 women, a lot of estrogen, you're a good man. You're a good man. And so I would say this is a special family. We love them all very much, and we want to support them in any way that we can. And I think the first way we can is to let them know that we're here for them and that if there are needs that they have, we want to be the first to fulfill those needs. So, yes, I left tissue boxes up here. I hope that we won't need them. I hope rather than feel sad about tonight, we remember with very full hearts all the wonderful things that Stephanie has done for us. And so I'd like to call up the first member of the family. Rebecca, is that you? To say a few words.
Mom, I'm missing you today, but I know that you will always be with me in my heart. I am who I am because of your loving hands. I have my sweet and compassionate soul from watching you and your generosity and kindness to others. I see the world full of wonder because of your imagination. I've learned to never give up seeing your drive and perseverance. I love you always and forever. I will always and forever be your number one daughter.
I didn't really write anything because this is kind of last minute, but goodness, as we all know, my mom was such an incredible woman, and I feel so blessed to have been raised by someone like that. My mom was really my best friend, but it makes me feel better to know that she's not in pain anymore. I don't have a good closing thing like you did, but
so I was my mom's college girl. I was the first of my siblings to go to college, four-year college. And through her bringing me to synagogue, I got into theater, and I love my program. I've met some of my best friends through there, and she came to all of my performances, no matter how bad they may have been in retrospect. It's truly unfortunate that she was not able to attend my most recent musical or my most recent recital, since by then she was hospitalized. But I know she will be at all of my future performances in spirit, and I know she would want me to continue on.
sorry. My mom always had a smile on her face. She was the most loving, supportive, and kind person I will have ever known. I've always felt so lucky and cool to have her as my mom, and I still do. She made an impact on so many lives and was the most giving and generous woman. Mom, I promise to live the rest of my life spreading the love and kindness you always did. Thank you, everyone, for being here in honor of my mom. I know she's watching with a smile. Mom, I love you more than words could ever express.
So I found a quote that I think describes my mom. It says, impact. You never really know the true impact you have on those around you. You never know how much someone needed that smile you gave them. You never know how much your kindness turns someone else's or someone's entire life around. You never know how much someone needed that long hug or deep talk. So don't wait to be kind. Don't wait for someone else to be kind first. Don't wait for better circumstances or for someone to change. Just be kind, because you never know how much someone needs it. And that perfectly describes my mom. She would help anybody, whether she knew you for 5 minutes or for 30 years. And it just shows, like, everybody just take a look around. Do you see how many people came to support my mom? It was just, she just did everything, and she had the purest heart, and she just loved everybody, and it's just absolutely amazing. So I can't thank everybody enough for being here. And just remember that anytime you need to talk to her, she'll be up there ready to listen, and she'll just guide you. She'll just guide you, and we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay.
Well, at this time, I'd like to call up first family members who would like to say a few words, and then we'll open it up to everybody else. So if there's family members here, and would you come up and introduce yourself so we know who you are?
If you have something funny to say, we can take a joke. Guess I'll start off. I'll do my best. My name's Ryan. I'm her nephew. I don't deal with loss very often. But when I do, it hurts in a way I can't really feel like normal people. And she was okay with that. I mean, she accepted me for what I am. I don't talk to much people. I don't hang around with the family very often, but when I did, she listened to me. I'd jabber on about something weird, anime, food, some kind of weird technology I loved. And she didn't really understand it, but she'd listen. I don't remember which ear it was out of, but she would listen. I always forgot that. It was terrible. But the thing that's gonna hurt me the most weekly, I shop at Kroger, and I always go to the discount section, and for some reason my Kroger has a lot of Jewish discounts. And I look at it and I go, boy, Aunt Stephanie would love that. Matzo ball soup, gefilte fish. Matzah, we got matzah last year for $1.14 a pack. It was insane. But every time I go there now and I see something, I'm gonna think, I can't call her. And that hurts. But, she is better now, not hurting. So, it's good. And, thank you all for being here.
I'm Stephanie's number one brother. Her only brother. This Richard is the other Richard. I'm Uncle Richard. Growing up with Stephanie, I kind of followed her around. We went to the same high school. We went to the same college. At least I did for a year and a half. My biggest worry right now is I've got some big shoes to fill when it comes to the high holidays. I'm going to start immediately. I have customers who are going to teach me how to make matzo balls and chicken soup. And I know how to make her combination soup, what she does with the ramen noodles. But I feel that with Richard, be hosting the high holidays and doing my best to keep up to tradition. And all the meals that Stephanie made for a lot of folks here in the temple, and for our family for the many, many years since my mother and father passed away. She took on that job as soon as my mom passed and did a wonderful job. I don't know a person who walked away from that table with an appetite. They were always full. Stephanie, I'm going to miss you a lot. The one thing that really hurts me is I did not realize the love that she had. I did not see this coming. I mean, I just told one of my relatives, if I had 10 people, I'd be jumping up and down. Not that I would see it, but she sees it. She sees us. She's up there with my other sister right now, and God bless them. Thank you.
We're not brothers. He trims.
If only you did. Okay.
I met Posey. Is it Richard? Is that the other name? I met him at summer camp in Coots, New York in 1973. He came to Texas, what was it, 1977. And we hooked up again. We've been through a whole bunch for a whole lot of years.
When Charlie dragged me to Texas, I'm a Chicago girl, as was Stephanie. Stephanie was one of the first people that I met when we moved here 36 years ago. And she and I got very involved. She was already involved, and I, in turn, got very involved with Women's American Org. And our major fundraiser was working at the Ranger Games. These two got kicked out for fighting with the concession employees. But I'll never forget that. The two, but that was just one. But our working the concession was one of the many ways that, you know, when Stephanie did something, she went all in. Look at her family. Started with 2, wound up with 5 girls. That's really going all the way in. She and I became very close the last 4 years after I retired, because finally I had time to see people and do things besides working. And I'm going to miss Steph a lot. She was a wonderful person. Lots of love for everyone.
So about 35 years ago? A little over 35 years ago?
Oh yeah, this part was important.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of important.
Yes.
Kathy and I were sitting around one night, and we thought, what the hell? So we set Richard and Stephanie up on a blind date.
We went to the Italian Villa. I can't tell you how many times in the last 35 years we've been to the Italian Villa, or now La Gondola. Go ahead.
Oh, this is your favorite part.
Well, now that I'm popular, I'm feeling a little embarrassed about it. But anyway, at Stephanie's bridal shower.
Oh, no.
What?
We took him on this blind date.
Oh.
And after the date was over, Kathy calls Stephanie and says, well, what'd you think of Richard? So I like Charlie better.
My response was, sorry, he's taken.
If you can't tell, I'm a very shy and introverted person. If you've met Richard, you know how loud and obnoxious he can be. And we were afraid maybe this wasn't going to take. I got transferred to Memphis, Tennessee, and off we went. And when we came back from Memphis, Tennessee, because I got transferred back again, they were an item.
They were engaged.
Yeah.
They were engaged. So a few months later at Stephanie's bridal shower, I gave her a small gift. Well, I gave her a nice gift, and then I gave her another gift. And some of you women may have received them, but it was a penny jar with Stephanie and Richard's name on it. If you know, you know, okay? But I saw the jar yesterday when I was in your bedroom, and it brought me to tears. Good times. Still there.
Look, so if anybody's wondering, we're the guilty parties.
No, just one party.
Thank you.
We love you all, and we're here for you, whatever we can do. Okay?
Love you, Pose. Stephanie, wonderful, wonderful person. I'm so glad that stuck after we got you together.
America's number one fear is speaking in public. Could I get everybody to turn around? Believe me, I debated real hard whether I wanted to follow those two or not. How many times in your life have you had somebody enter it so strongly, so brilliantly, so sincerely? There's 812 cars outside here. I belonged to this GOG for 12 years. Most I've ever seen anything is 12. Stephanie, thanks for coming into my life.
You'll have to bear with me on this one because at this point in my life, I'm mostly blind, so it's very hard for me to see this, but there's no way I wasn't going to say something about Stephanie Posner on this evening. It isn't enough to say that Stephanie was my friend. It isn't enough to say Stephanie was our friend. That doesn't even begin to cover Stephanie. Stephanie deserves much more than that, and it needs to be explained why we should be saying Stephanie is our friend. Stephanie is my friend. And I'm going to explain to you why I'm trying to explain that it is rather than was. And that's because of Stephanie's life and the way she lived her life. I don't know whether to use this or not. I'm sorry about that. So Stephanie was like a one-woman magic show of inspiration. That's the way I would describe her, because I taught under her, 13 years or so. And this one-woman show of inspiration, what do I call her? I wanted to call her the inspirational whisperer because she made such a difference in everybody's life, but I couldn't use the word whisperer because if you know Stephanie, she wasn't really a whisperer. It's a little louder than that. I could hear her on Tabor Street all the way 5 miles down to my house on Parkmont Drive. So not a whisperer, but she was such an inspiration to everyone that ever came within her presence. She uplifted their soul to such a degree that you wanted to become a better human being and a better person and to transfer that inspiration to others. So, in effect, every time you came in contact with Stephanie, your soul was lifted. She became the epitome. She became the meaning of what we're supposed to be doing through our lives through that saying of Tikkun Olam, right? Make the world a better place than it was before you got here. Well, she lived that life, but to a higher degree because she inspired everyone that she came in contact with to do better, to become a better human being, to inspire others. We taught hundreds of students for those years. I taught under her direction. And yeah, I may have surprised her with a few ideas here and there, like let's take all the kids out to go feed the homeless by ourselves on Lancaster Avenue and make sandwiches, things like that, and leave the premises here. Huh?
I already did that with my kids.
Oh, there you go. See, I'm not lying. There you go. So she lived up to that, but she brought that potential out into everyone else. And it's just not enough to say she was our friend. So I say she is because her soul, that uplifting is, we breathe that. Anyone who came in contact with Stephanie breathes her soul within them and then carries out their own Tikkun Olam, their own make this world a better place than it was before you got here. And my best way to describe Stephanie would be, in music terms, a musician is an expert if they understand all the notes. I'm no musician, so I don't know, but I understand that if a musician fully understands all the notes, they're an expert. But to be a genius, it's the one not only that understands the notes, but it's the one that understands the pauses between the notes. And Stephanie understood the pauses between the notes in teaching children. We focused on the individual child, not just a group, not just teaching by book, but one-on-one, hands-on. She touched everybody's soul. So I think she was more of a genius in her approach to other human beings, and we got to consider her as our friend forever. She's forever in us. So that's why I say she is my friend and will always be and not was. That's all I have.
First of all, Howard, turn around. You surprised me. I really thought you would have come up here and related Stephanie's life to a episode of The Twilight Zone. All of us who had him as a teacher or went through him, we all know what we're talking about. Okay, again, all of us who were lucky enough to have you as our kids' teacher. Okay, so I'm kind of representing, depending on which kid you ask, the Pokino moms, the Pokino ladies, the Pokino hens. We've lots of them. And when we were talking about this, we figured someone needed to say something. So again, I think I got elected, or I kind of volunteered, I guess. And so I started by going, okay, Stephanie, long name. I could do every letter. So I went, okay, S. Okay, let me think, because you know she's a big word person. Selfish. No, she was not. So that was good. That was good. Okay. Okay. T. Teacher. Good. E. Struggled with. I said, okay, environmentalist. She always did recycle. Right. Okay. Yes. Thank you very much. So then it was getting a little long, so I said, maybe I'll do P and H together and I'll do funny. But then I thought, okay, can you just imagine Stephanie? Stephanie always used to tell us that she could find a typo in the Bible. She would have had a fit if I would have said PH for funny. So needless to say, I kind of went a different route. It didn't really work. So I just want to tell you a little bit how I met her and then how she related to all of us. I first met her, and I was trying to figure out how long ago it was, because my oldest, Aubrey, is now 36. Ouch. I know. Ouch. And I think I was pregnant either with Nicholas or Madeline. I can't remember which one, but the older kids were going to Camp Shalom in Fort Worth. Somehow or another, Stephanie found out that my kids were going to Camp Shalom, her kids were going to Camp Shalom. Yeah, because that's where you guys, right? So she calls me up and says, hey, I know you live by the temple. I could take your kids, down to Fort Worth. And I'm like, okay, trying to be fair, do you want to do pickup or do you want to do drop off? And she goes, no, I'll do both. Now, before I go on with the story, you have to remember, I was pregnant. I would drop the kids off at Camp Shalom. I would come home, sit on the couch, watch TV, maybe eat some ice cream, maybe take a nap. Now back to the story. So I said, Stephanie, you don't want to stay there the whole time in Fort Worth. Why? Oh, no. I just don't stay there. I volunteer at an AIDS clinic. Okay? This is Stephanie. This is me. Okay. It continues. So when Martin Luther King holiday finally came to pass, and we all had the kids all had the day off, I remember one time we had gotten together for dinner, and I said, so what did you do for Martin Luther King? Once again, this was Stephanie. Oh, I took my kids to an event to celebrate Martin Luther King. Me? I stayed home and we did board games and drank hot chocolate, okay? So, again, but in my defense, it is in January. So once again, Stephanie, me. Okay, it continues. So, she got very involved in Camp Impact, so much that it's generational. And they needed some volunteers, so she called me up and said, would you like to volunteer? And I said, is it in the summer? She goes, yes. I said, no, too hot. And then she goes, well, then you could be a driver. I said, in the morning? She goes, yeah. I said, no, I don't think so. So, again, once again, I hope you all are seeing the pattern. Stephanie, Me. Okay. That's just the way it is. That's just, but that was the best part of her. That was the best part of her. She realized it was much more important what we had in common than what we didn't have in common. And she seemed to find something in common, clearly, with so many people. But that was Stephanie, okay? It didn't matter. And our Pokino group, it ended up being a lifeline for many of us. It was, we would get together once a month, we would have dinner, we'd play Pokino. Honestly, it was just a reason to get together. We would sit there and talk about our joys, our fears, our worries about our children. We would complain about our husbands. We would gossip. And let me tell you, Stephanie could spill the tea. She knew. I know you're all surprised. Let me tell you, Stephanie was the best gossip. Thank you, right? Right? Because she has that innocent face. I look guilty. She has that, once again, that innocent face. I know. That's just her. Okay, so I do want to tell you that whenever we got together, yes, we always had a lot of fun, and a lot of times we would say, oh, I don't really want to go, but every time we left, we would all turn to each other and said, this is exactly what I needed. I needed this because I wasn't going to survive another day with my family. I'm not kidding. You think I'm kidding. They will all, am I right? Yes? We would all attest to that, and not once did we leave without, and I'm not talking laughing, chuckling, ha, 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 ha. I'm talking to the point where we were crying. We were laughing so hard, without fail. But I do want to close this and tell you about the first time she came to our Pokino group. We had actually started the Pokino group before Stephanie was involved. For about 2 years, maybe, we were getting together. And we decided we should open it up. So we said, so who should we invite to try to join our Pokino group? And I know you think that sounds, very elitist, what are those little, thank you, very cliquish? Absolutely. Absolutely, we were, okay? So we were going to have it at my house, we were going to have a dinner, and then we were going to play Pokino. Now, at the time, everyone brings a gift, so we kind of exchange it. The limit was $15. She brought the most beautiful Jewish musical dreidel. All of us wanted it. All of us wanted to steal it. It was the best gift. I mean, most of us, we're buying socks at the clearance, right? That's what we're bringing. She brings this beautiful dreidel. So it was decided, you know what? We've got to keep Stephanie in the group. And with those kinds of gifts, absolutely. Fast forward a few years, about 5 or 6 years after that, I was talking to her, and she goes, I'm going to tell you a secret. She goes, I told you guys I got that dreidel on sale. I didn't. I so wanted to be part of the group. I spent more than I was supposed to because I really wanted to be part of the group. So I turned to her and I said, joke's on you, Stephanie, because even without that, we knew we wanted you in our group after the first time. You did not have to overspend. And this is really the only part that I wrote down. Again, I was trying to do the letters. It wasn't really working, but here we go. This part I did write down. I'm not sure we will all be the same without you. But I know we wouldn't have been the same without you.
Sorry that Angela is so shy. I really think you should do stand-up. Is anybody else brave enough to follow that act? Thank you.
I taught with Stephanie at South Davis. She hired me as her assistant, and I had one student that I had to follow around the whole day. I couldn't have done it without her. She was so, as everyone has said, she knew how to make the best of you in everything you did. She encouraged me to get my teaching certification, which I did, and the plan was when she retired, I would take her place. that would never happen. It happened that I took her place, but I could never fill her shoes. I watched her with students that were struggling, and she knew exactly how to bring out the best in them and how to get them to learn their way and not have to do it the way of education. She was a beautiful soul. I will always be blessed with my memories of her. She gave me so much encouragement. If I got down, she'd kick me in the seat and say, stop it. You can do this. And she would bring that out in me. And after she retired and I continued teaching, we would get together, try to get together once a month for lunch. And again, always to encourage me and always to give me that little lift that I needed. She was a beautiful friend. I will miss her tremendously. Her family is so blessed to have had her as their family member, their mom, their wife, their sister, brother. All I can say is, Stephanie, I love you. You will always be in my heart. And I wish you the very best. Say hi to JR for me, because I know he's got you up there looking for you. So, thank you for letting me share that.
My name's Marla. I first met Stephanie Ginsburg in 1987 when I started working with Big Brothers Big Sisters. And if you know Stephanie, you know that she has a heart for young children. She served as a volunteer for Big Brothers Big Sisters for many years, was Big Sister of the Year. And then somehow this other person got involved named Richard, which when, once they got married, it was a natural that Richard, just bring him along, and they became a couples match and served so many children that way. Kept up with Stephanie through the years. I started working with the Arlington School District, so we would see each other, and it was always amazed me the heart that she had for young people. She was a blessing to so many, and we really appreciate her.
I'm Gracie, and I'm Kendall's best friend of about 10 years now. And so I met Miss Stephanie when I was only 8 years old, and her home was always my second home. Every summer I came over, and she provided dinner and a place for me to stay whenever I need someone. And I'll always be grateful for her and everything that she gave me over the years. Thank you.
Hi there. I just have one double-spaced page here. My name's Louis Dobin, and I was the director at Green Family Camp, where I met Richard and Stephanie and all that section of the room there, some of the people over there. And usually when I say something, I have a guitar in front of me, which is great because it separates you from the crowd, and it also keeps you in tune. But this is a poem by Hannah Senish. It's a beautiful poem, and I'm going to try and sing it a cappella. Check out the words. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the stars that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember. Yesh kochavim she'orem b'gi'ai artza, rak ka'ashar hem atzmam avdu vanam. Yesh anashim sheziv zimra ir, ki asher hem artzam me'am od betocheinu. Orot elecha mavichim v'cheshkat halayil, הם שהרים לאדם את הדרך, הם שמרים לאדם את הדרך. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember.
Hello, my name is Nelda Vena. The first time I met Stephanie, our oldest daughters were in Daisies and Brownies together, so it was a long time ago. We really enjoyed, she was a wonderful person, like everyone says. She introduced us to the potato pancake. Never tasted that before. Being a Catholic, I was very interested, or my family was very interested in different religions, and so she invited us, our family, to Passover. Really, really excited to do that. Our daughter, when she turned 15, we invited Stephanie and her family to come and to be introduced to what a quinceañera is. It's a coming out for your child, your daughter, to actually go and date. And in exchange, she also invited us to Rebecca's bat mitzvah, so we were real excited. She's a wonderful person. Our oldest daughter has Down syndrome, and so Richard and Stephanie introduced us to Special Olympics, so she's going to be very missed. Rebecca and my daughter Victoria continue to stay close together through Facebook because that's what they do now. And so, they've been able to stay together, but we've been very blessed to have her. So thank you for letting me share.
My wife had to pass away, so I'd sit on the front row. I don't ever sit on the front row. And I just wanted to thank all of y'all for coming. You're still welcome to come up here, but I did want to tell you her last selfless act was donating both of her kidneys. She was an organ donor. That's Stephanie, organ donor, 2 kidneys. Save somebody else's life. That's Stephanie. Years, 211 days, okay?
Hi, I'm Linda Rico, and I worked with Stephanie, but first, she was Kevin's first grade teacher and for special ed, and the difference she made in his life to this day. He's 52 now, so it's been over 40 years since we started in first grade, and Stephanie became part of my family. We got where we went out to eat together. We went to go see movies, and I was telling my sister the other day, I said, we'd actually sit at movies and we'd make predictions. Dirty Dancing. So Stephanie, tell me, this is what's going to happen. Oh, you're right, because she had already seen it. She's taking me for the second time. And then still, Kevin is one of the best spellers. She taught phonics. That's not something we teach now. Oh, I went on to be a teacher. I retired 3 years ago, and I taught 5th grade that whole time. But Stephanie and I had started getting together, and first of the year, we went to lunch, and Kevin came with us. So that was a moment. I'm so glad we did. And when she retired, I had Kevin take the day off from work, and we surprised her at her retirement party. So one of her very first graders, and she was Miss Greenberg then. She was fishing for him. That's all I'd hear about what her mother wanted for her, a good Jewish boy. But she found him, and it was the best thing that ever happened. Thank you. And thank you for letting us be a part of your family, because we do love her. We're going to miss her. Did you want to say something?
I'm going to miss you a lot. And you were the best teacher I ever had. And you cared about me.
Okay, you're okay.
I didn't plan to talk at all, but decided after coming, y'all need to hear this. I taught with Stephanie for many years at South Davis, and every year at Christmas, Hanukkah time, I invited Stephanie in to tell my students about Hanukkah. And I knew a little bit about Hanukkah. I'm Southern Baptist. But I didn't know a lot about Hanukkah. And the first time she came, oh my gosh, I had so many questions. And I had to go to her after it was over and talk to her about it. And then she would come again every year from then on. I bet she came at least 10 years in a row as I finished up my teaching career. And every year, the students sat perfectly still. They never did that for me. They sat perfectly still and listened to every part of that story about the Maccabees. I'd never heard of the Maccabees. About the oil running out and about what a miracle it was. So what I wanted to share with you was how much her faith meant to her and how important it was and how she shared it with all the people that she knew and her students.
Sitting here listening to everybody, and I think the hardest lesson that we need to learn is that we've said some beautiful, beautiful things about Stephanie, and all of it from our hearts. But what we don't do is we don't share these feelings when the person can actually hear them. And I think that's a lesson that we have to learn and take with us, that the people whom you love and admire and respect and care about, we have to make sure that they know that every single day, because as we've learned, nobody knows when it's your last day. And as our tradition teaches us that we're supposed to repent one day before we die, we should keep that in mind, that we don't know that one day before we're going to die. And we have to make use of every single day that we have. For all of us, I truly believe that Stephanie's memory will always be a blessing. And I would like to announce that tomorrow night and Thursday night. There will be Shiva Minions at their home. If you'd like to attend, please come. If you're not familiar with our customs, you will see what we do when someone passes away, that we say special prayers for them. And most of all, it's really to make sure that we support the family and make them know that we're here for them, not just this week and not next week or the following week, but whatever you have, whatever needs you have, you let us know. Richard, you know, I'm the chair. You get in touch with me, and I got people. Speaking of people, I would just like to thank Kathy Freisinger and Laura Fleischer for helping set up the social hall, and of course Laura in the office for all her help. This is a group effort. This is what we do. We always come together to support one another, and I'm grateful to all of you who've come. Please go out, make a hard left. You'll go into our social hall and enjoy some refreshments that have been provided by your synagogue family. So, is there a last call? Is there anybody else that wanted to say something? One more thing. The gentleman in the back.
We're all going to miss Stephanie. But there's one group that's going to miss Stephanie more than anyone. And that is every Chinese restaurant.
And not just on Christmas Day, right? Not just. On behalf of the family, thank you all so much for coming and sharing your thoughts, and come and mingle for a while, and thank you all.